and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a Maine State Police trooper is injured after a driver fell asleep at the wheel and hit him from behind.
Plus, a man was arrested after he allegedly blocked traffic and repeatedly hit a man in the head with a hammer.
And Castine is finally starting to come back after the winter storms that battered the area.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. Everybody's happy that it's Friday today, including myself. It looks like the weather, though, kind of taking a turn on the wet side today.
I know. It seemed like that mostly in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
So it should clear up, looks like later on, but that's fingers crossed.
Hope so.
Yeah. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. Areas of dense fog greeting us this morning are parts of Bangor to Bar Harbor, even across parts of Washington County this morning. Looks like Millinocket dealing with some fog as well, even across the western parts of the state. I haven't noticed any advisories yet this morning, but please be careful as you do travel with the fog. We do have showers developing across the western parts of the state this morning, tracking from the west to the east, and we'll be watching for on and off showers as the day progresses on with this area low pressure here that continues to track off towards the east. So we'll have more rounds of showers tracking throughout the daytime period today. So there's the showers right there. We hold on to those pretty much all day long, and a few more on the way tonight. Then some showers and even some thunderstorms possible as we head towards your Saturday. As for the winds, though, not looking too bad, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The winds will start to calm down later on tonight, but then they start to pick up again as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, here we go. We have middle 60s, mostly cloudy showers on the way, and that east wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy showers and fog on the way, lows in the middle 50s with the wind overall looking nice and calm. All right, an hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, mostly cloudy with showers on the way, temperatures overall in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. We'll check in with you a little later on. A Maine State Police trooper has been injured following a crash on Interstate 95. Around 11 p.m. on Wednesday, Corporal Garrett Booth was traveling northbound on I-95 in Sydney when his cruiser was rear-ended at a high rate of speed. A state police spokesperson says 34-year-old Kishana Tavares of San Diego, California, fell asleep behind the wheel, causing her foot to press on the accelerator of her Kia Optima. Booth sustained an arm injury and was taken to Maine General Medical Center in Augusta for evaluation. He has since been released. Tavares was not injured. She was issued a citation for failing to maintain control of her motor vehicle. The crash remains under investigation.
Well, meanwhile, a man from northern Maine was killed Thursday following a collision with a UTV and a tractor-trailer truck. Police say 63-year-old Robert Chambers of Fort Fairfield was traveling along the shoulder of Route 1A when he suddenly pulled into the roadway to reach a nearby trail. He ended up pulling into the path of a loaded semi-truck and was killed in the crash. The driver of the truck was not injured. The roadway was shut down for 3 hours while police investigated.
An Orrington man has been arrested in connection with an alleged attack that reportedly involved a hammer. Around 11 p.m. Wednesday, Brewer police received a call about an assault on South Main Street. When officers arrived, they found a victim with serious injuries to his head. Brewer police say during the investigation, they determined that 29-year-old Nicholas Ireland had allegedly blocked the roadway with his vehicle and approached the victim with a hammer and a firearm. They say an altercation followed and the victim was struck multiple times with a hammer. Police say Ireland allegedly left the scene with property that belonged to the victim. Ireland was later arrested in Bangor. He's charged with elevated aggravated assault, criminal threatening, and robbery. Police say Ireland was known to the victim and the attack was not random.
Maine drug enforcement agents arrested 3 people at an apartment in Bangor yesterday. Maine DEA agents, Bangor police, and members of the U.S. DEA executed a search warrant at 54 Charles Street. The search was the result of a months-long investigation, which included undercover purchases of fentanyl. Authorities seized more than 200 grams of crack cocaine, over 140 grams of fentanyl, more than $11,000 in suspected drug proceeds, and a loaded .40 caliber handgun. The estimated street value of the drugs seized is $45,000. Police arrested 31-year-old Shaquem Harris of New York, 52-year-old Winona Lola of Bangor, and 43-year-old Roger Brown of Bangor. Each has been charged with aggravated drug trafficking and are expected to make their initial court appearances in Bangor today.
A New Hampshire man is facing drug charges after he was caught traveling with illegal drugs in Maine. The Maine Drug Enforcement Agency says they received a tip that a shipment of drugs was being driven from Massachusetts to Aroostook County. Authorities stopped a vehicle driven by 34-year-old Timothy Pinkham as it traveled through Sherman. A search of the vehicle turned up almost 4 pounds of methamphetamine and over 3.5 grams of fentanyl. He's now facing drug trafficking charges and driving without a license. Police say the street value of the meth is over $150,000.
Well, police have discovered another large illegal marijuana growing operation. Just before 10 a.m. yesterday, the Kennebec County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant on the Pond Road in Manchester after being tipped off by neighbors who smelled marijuana. More than 1,000 plants were seized at that home. The Sheriff's Office also conducted a search about an hour later at a residence on Sheldon Street in Farmingdale for another suspected growing operation. No plants were seized from that residence, though police say there was evidence that a large amount of marijuana had recently been harvested there. No one has been arrested in connection with either of those search warrants at this time.
A dead whale was pulled up out of the water in the Portland harbor. It's not known for sure how the humpback whale died, but it had fishing gear wrapped around its tail. The whale was spotted entangled in netting yesterday morning. Bystanders called Maine Marine Patrol, who confirmed the whale was dead. Yesterday morning, the whale was towed to Portland Harbor, where it was lifted out of the water using a boat lift. NOAA says this is a 40-foot female humpback whale known as Chunk. They've been observing this whale since 2015. That year, she was first found with a severe entanglement, but NOAA's team freed her, and since then, she has been healthy. An animal autopsy will be performed on the whale, and NOAA law enforcement, alongside Marine Mammals of Maine, say they're investigating the incident.
Well, on Tuesday, President Biden unveiled sweeping reforms to the U.S. southern border asylum policy, and immigration advocates across the country, including here in Maine, are now speaking out. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard has the story.
But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
After months of negotiations with Republicans on legislation to secure the southern U.S. border fell through, President Biden issued an executive order on Tuesday capping asylum claims for those in the country illegally at around 2,500 per day. This has local advocates here in Maine concerned.
His latest attack on asylum seekers is extremist, it's deadly, and it is wholly illogical on a policy level.
This policy was illegal when President Trump tried it, and it is still illegal now that President Biden has tried it.
The Immigrant Legal Advocacy Project Maine is a Portland-based outreach group helping low-income immigrants improve their legal status. Lisa Parisio says Biden's new executive order won't prevent people from crossing the border illegally. It will only make their journey harder.
We know without question that effectively shutting down the border and denying people their right to seek asylum under U.S. law does not actually stop them from needing or seeking safety and security. It only forces them to take more dangerous, more deadly journeys to reach U.S. soil, or it leaves them trapped in harm's way, stranded in Mexico, waiting for a chance to exercise their rights.
The American Civil Liberties Union said on Tuesday that they plan to sue the Biden administration for implementing the policy, which is similar to one the organization already successfully overturned in the courts under President Trump. For Megan Sway, the policy director of ACLU Maine, she says despite our relative distance to the southern border, impacts will still be felt this far north.
I think here in Maine, it just prolongs people's agony, people who want to work, who want to provide for their families. And because of archaic laws around when asylum seekers can find work, who can pursue asylum, those sorts of things, it puts more financial strain on our state, but it also has a real human cost to the people here who are trying to create a new life after escaping unimaginable harms in their home countries.
In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Thursday was the last day to request your absentee ballot for the June 11th primaries. Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, Maine's top election official, says it's not too late to return your absentee ballot if you already requested it.
You can return your absentee ballot in the mail, via absentee ballot drop box, or you can drop it off in person back at the clerk's office. Finally, if there is a special circumstance, say something terrible happens this weekend and you end up hospitalized, or someone you love ends up in a special circumstance, we do have special circumstances for absentee ballot.
Secretary Bellows adds if you spoiled your ballot by spilling something on it, you can also request a new one at your municipal clerk's office.
That would be my problem, something like that. Yeah, my dog ate it, or
right.
I got some, cupcake
you were
stuff
one of
on
those.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, my dog ate my homework.
Yep.
Okay, the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the town of Castine has been working overtime to repair all the damage caused by the winter storms. We'll have a look at the farm
At how far? Sorry, I misspelled that.
Oh, we'll have a look at the farm. Yeah, there's a farm there now.
There are farms in Castine.
No, how far the town has come.
I'll fix that typo. Sorry about that. But first, a check of your forecast. Running out of words here. Today, mostly cloudy with showers, highs around 65 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with areas of fog, lows dropping down to the mid-50s. Tomorrow, you guessed it, more scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. Highs on Saturday around 70. I need to go to the farm.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily. We offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
What's the least sexy thing your wife has ever worn in the bedroom?
Granny panties, Steve.
Don't miss Family Feud. Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7. Are you a local World War II veteran, or do you know a World War II veteran who may be interested in telling and preserving their story for a future broadcast? Call ABC 7 at 945-6457, extension 3106, or email us at www.wvii.com.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. A 2021 Maine law prohibits schools from receiving public funding if they discriminate based on gender identity, sexual orientation, or religion. A federal judge ruled that law does not violate the Constitution following a legal challenge by Crosspoint Church, which operates Bangor Christian schools. Crosspoint filed a 3-count complaint in March of last year, arguing the law violates the free exercise, establishment, and free speech clauses in the U.S. Constitution. Earlier this year, the court denied Crosspoint's motion for preliminary injunction in the case. The final judgment was handed down on Thursday. According to a report by Maine Public, lawyers representing Bangor Christian schools have already indicated plans to appeal the decision.
Now, Senator Angus King is co-sponsoring a piece of legislation that could help students in public schools get more mental health support. Representatives from King's office say that 15% of Maine children between the ages of 6 and 11 are diagnosed with an emotional or developmental condition. The Elementary and Secondary School Counseling Act, which King is co-sponsoring, would establish funding for more mental health providers in schools. The act would help to employ multiple providers, including counselors, psychologists, and social workers. Representatives from King's office say the schools who employ mental health providers see improved attendance and achievements with lower dropout rates, suspensions, and expulsion rates.
It's been nearly 6 months since the winter storms that wreaked havoc across the coast of Maine. Now the town of Castine is finally putting the finishing touches on their repairs after the town dock and area businesses sustained significant damages. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
As you see driving around Castine, it's the focal point of the town.
During the January 10th and 13th storms, Castine experienced major destruction and flooding along its town dock.
The town dock here was destroyed, and our Acadia dock, which is what is on my back right corner or back right shoulder, that was also damaged.
According to Castine's town manager, they've added extra storm drainage and have rebuilt the dock in a way that'll make it more resilient to future storms.
The entirety of our dock is almost one piece. We've through-bolted all of the supporting timbers and all the supporting joists. We've through-bolted them, so our dock is actually one piece all the way from the pilings through the planking.
Some area businesses are also gearing up to reopen after the damage has delayed their season.
I want everyone to be able to, come down here. I miss it. It's so empty, and it breaks my heart because, this is in June, never been like this.
According to the manager of the Safe Harbor Cafe that sits along the dockside, they lost thousands of dollars worth of product and equipment.
Inside was 3 feet of water. All the equipment was lost.
Cooper says she was unsure if they would be reopening, but after receiving support from the community, she hopes to be up and running in a couple weeks.
That's what this town does. We all support each other, always.
Town officials say the area has been deemed safe and is expected to be fully cleaned up within the next week. In Castine, Grace Blanchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
I've gotten a lot of food and ice cream from that little drive-through window there.
Spot. Yeah, it's lovely.
It's great. Go support them. All right, industry leaders from around the state put their heads together to think about the future of infrastructure in Maine during a return of an annual event. Our David Ledford brings us a closer look at that.
It's really a gathering of people that are involved in the built infrastructure.
The 11th annual Build Maine conference returned to downtown Skowhegan for the 3rd year this week. The annual event brings together experts in development, housing, and transportation to discuss the issues impacting Maine and think about how to solve those issues in the future.
There are some huge issues facing our state that we all know about: housing availability, but also cost.
There's a variety of different initiatives here that talk about how to use different spaces and how to reuse your streetscapes, how to different options on housing, different options on how to develop. There's really a whole menu of approaches to doing reuse or redevelopment.
Thursday's session featured workshops and presentations on how to prepare for population growth in the state. Because organizers say people are expected to flock to Maine to escape issues posed by climate change in other states.
As people think about the climate and where they want to live in the future, and think about fires and floods and things of that nature, Maine becomes a really exciting place to look at for people to want to move to, and we've seen that since the pandemic. So if we're planning ahead, we'll be ahead of the game here.
And those who took part in the conference say supporting that growth over time means expanding Maine's infrastructure.
Things that are happening here are really crucial to helping both small towns and large cities continue to be able to move forward.
To learn more about the annual event, visit buildmaine.com. In Skowhegan, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 6:19. After the break, a very good dog has recently completed her training in order to be a service dog to a local veteran.
We'll have the story, plus it's All-Star Monster Truck Weekend at Speedway 95. We'll hear everything you need to know about that and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
This morning, GMA's about to surprise and help some fans at the NBA Finals find some money they never knew was theirs to even have.
Show me the money!
It's GMA's Show Me the Money. You gotta see this on GMA.
Bad boy mowers aren't built for everyone. They're built for the bold, the originals, people who get the job done and love every second of it. Bad boys are built for horsepower, and cutting-edge precision with a first-of-its-kind 3-link suspension and a style all their own. Because you're not everyone, and that's a good thing. Bad boy, Mo with an attitude.
Whether it's coaching Little League, volunteering to help our seniors, building affordable places to call home, or providing the children of our employees with scholarships, the New England Toyota dealers and the thousands of people we employ play a role in lifting up the community. We're proud to serve you and to be part of those things that benefit us all. Toyota. Let's go places.
The Stanley Cup Final. Oil Country looks to celebrate for the first time since 1990. The Panthers have waited a lifetime to capture their first Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup Final, Game 1, Saturday on ABC.
Thanks to a partnership of local organizations, a fully trained service dog is ready to find a forever home with a veteran. Our Doug Banks takes us to Holden to meet Magnolia Grace.
Meet Magnolia Grace, affectionately nicknamed Mags. She's a 1-year-old Bernese Mountain Dog who's ready to find a forever home.
She's a perfect candidate for someone that needs that love.
Years ago, a connection was formed when the family dogs of Joe and Jody Bracelet were trained by Maine Refined Canine's Devin Corson, a professional dog trainer. And when a litter arrived last May, Bracelet's children wanted to donate one of the puppies to a veteran as a service dog.
We called Devin and he said yes instantly.
When they reached out, it was definitely a warm feeling of knowing that I get the help.
He jumped on board, was more than happy and gracious enough to donate all of his time and resources for this project.
After a year of advanced obedience training under Corson's guidance, applications are now available for a life-changing opportunity. Home Roofing Solutions and Maine Refined Canine have partnered with the Bracelets nonprofit, the Merino Project, and Maine Veterans Project. The partnership will see Mags go home with a veteran within an hour radius of Bangor who faces physical or mental health challenges. Applications are available from now through July 6th.
When we find the right owner for her, it's going to feel great. I'll say if Devin was asked that, he would agree, but I think he's going to be a little heartbroken.
It's going to be really sad when she leaves because I've trained this dog since birth and she's been with me. And her love is just out of this world.
To learn more, or if you'd like to help Magnolia Grace's journey towards finding her forever home, visit themerinoproject.org. In Holden, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Oh, yeah. You could just tell he cares very much. And what a good thing he's done, though, to train a dog and to offer it up to somebody else.
Nice thing, everybody involved. And boy, the dog just looks like the perfect dog, too.
Such a happy dog. Yep. Oh. Okay, the time now is 6:23.
Let's get a full look at that rainy forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. The local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. All righty, here we go. Wave heights are a little bit active out there, depending on where you're at this morning. We have 3-foot wave heights just offshore, maybe a little bit lower further off towards the north and east from the buoys, and further down to the south, wave heights are at around 7 feet this morning. On land, here we go. Bangor to Bar Harbor, reduced visibilities. Even Millinocket noticing that this morning. Washington County is reduced, so if you're driving this morning, definitely take it slow. Allow extra time as needed with the areas of dense fog that has been developing. We also have clouds and we also have showers tracking in from the west and going toward the east. So we're going to keep that going throughout the daytime period today with more showers possible overnight tonight and possibly tomorrow as well. With this energy here tracking from the southwest and going to the north and east, we'll be watching that as it does track ever so slowly to the north and east. So futurecast moving forward, we have the showers for today, and even later on tonight, notice the clouds and the showers will be holding on. Even for your Saturday, here we go, scattered showers, and even some thunderstorms will be expected, not only for Saturday morning, but possibly a little bit more as we head towards the afternoon period, so be watchful for that. Then once we head towards Saturday night, there's some rain showers sticking around, but it looks like we start to catch a little bit of a break as we head towards early Sunday morning. As for the rainfall, I'm going to run this through the next few days, so we will have a good amount of rainfall on the way between now and Tuesday, maybe another inch to 2 inches of rain possible in some areas areas before we're all finished up between now and Tuesday, so it will be spread out as we do move forward in time. Average high temperature is 72 degrees. We'll do middle 60s for us today, lower 70s Saturday, Sunday, also into Monday. We're back in the mid 70s for you Tuesday, then upper 70s again Wednesday, and also into your Thursday. Let's talk about the dew points. Those have been up at least recently. We can feel it out there with dew points in the lower 60s today and tomorrow. But once we get towards Sunday and beyond, dew points will be a little bit more comfortable. So for today, middle 60s, mostly cloudy, showers out there, and that east wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy, some showers and fog on the way. Lows in the middle 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. Highs in the lower 70s, and that southwest wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. All righty, let's check out that extended forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth. More showers and thunderstorms on Sunday with highs in the low 70s. Low 70s again for your Monday with a chance for showers, and more showers and thunderstorms Tuesday. We remain wet with highs in the mid 70s.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
My name is Michelle Potter. When my partner of 20 years died unexpectedly at the age of 49, Cindy at Bragdon Kelly Funeral Home is the one who helped me. My first meeting with Cindy started as a blur. So much stuff was going on and I was really in shock. But she immediately started helping me. I started to feel like things were not completely hopeless. Cindy offered me really useful counsel, and she also offered me her grief support group. When I met with Cindy, I felt recognized and validated. She is very professional and went above and beyond. In her grief group, Cindy committed so much time to all of us. I can still hear her and the helpful information she shared with me. Cindy helped me recognize how important and good life still is. At the time, I wasn't ready for individual counseling. Cindy helped me and got me ready. She is so intuitive and personable. Cindy is not at all what I thought a funeral director would be.
Bragdon Kelly Funeral Homes. Let our family serve yours.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Accused Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann has been charged with the murders of 2 more women. He had already been charged in the killings of 4 others. One of the apparent victims being Megan Waterman, who was 22 years old when she was last seen on June 6th of 2010. She was a resident of Scarborough here in Maine. Prosecutors say new evidence has come to light since the Long Island architect was first accused. After another search of Heuermann's home, investigators say they also found what they're calling a blueprint for his crimes. An all-caps computer document allegedly had checklists of tasks to complete before and after killings. Prosecutors say one was a reminder to, quote, remove head and hands. Heuermann, a husband and father, pleaded not guilty and is being held without bond.
Well, now to the newly released video of a shootout between police and a suspect in a crowded grocery store. What authorities are now saying about that confrontation. ABC's Andrew Dimpert has more.
This morning, dramatic new video shows officers involved in a shootout inside a busy grocery store in Ohio.
You can just only imagine what this may have turned into, and we're very fortunate the end result that we have today.
In the video, police officers are seen responding to a Kroger outside Cincinnati last week. An officer can be seen firing at 42-year-old Joseph Van Nieman, who points a gun towards officers. Prosecutors say moments earlier, Van Nieman ignored officers' orders to stop after they allegedly saw him take part in a drug deal, then walk across the Kroger parking lot. Van Nieman taking cover in the store's entrance, repeatedly stepping out and engaging in a shootout with officers as customers duck for cover. Authorities say an undercover officer then made his way into the store from a different entrance, forcing Van Nieman to run. That's when officers shot him. Prosecutors calling it justified, adding the officers involved will not face charges.
Everyone else's instinct is to run for their lives. These officers ran in the direction of danger to save others.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu conducted a new assessment of the IDF's campaigns across the Gaza Strip. This comes as Israel continues facing international pushback for the number of civilian casualties in its war against Hamas, with the Gaza Health Ministry reporting more than 37,000 people have been killed since October 7th. Critics blasting Israel's decision to strike a UN school serving as a shelter for Palestinians on Thursday. The operation killing more than 30 people. Israeli officials say the facility was doubling as a Hamas compound. This as the IDF escalates its missions inside the southern city of Rafah. The ongoing conflict could mean a ceasefire deal that would free the remaining hostages may not be finalized anytime soon.
Well, after a few fits and starts, Boeing's new Starliner capsule in its first test flight with astronauts. It finally docked at the International Space Station. After both years of delays and an eventful 27 hours following its launch, this is the moment when Boeing's Starliner finally docked at the International Space Station on Thursday morning. It became the first Boeing spacecraft to carry humans into space. However, first, at 11 p.m. Wednesday night, NASA posted online that 3 helium leaks were also found on the ship. They would eventually find one more. Then 5 of the ship's thrusters started malfunctioning, causing the Starliner to miss its initial window for docking at the ISS. Thankfully, they were able to get 4 of them back online, and they made that docking successful.
Major companies involved in artificial intelligence growth are going under the federal microscope. Microsoft, ChatGPT, creator OpenAI, and chipmaker NVIDIA are expected to be investigated by the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission, according to anonymous sources cited by the Associated Press. The developments come as President Joe Biden has pushed for tougher looks into possible monopolistic practices. The FTC would review firms getting privileged access, undermining fair competition. Microsoft supplies computing resources for generative AI, and NVIDIA makes specialized semiconductors for AI. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, this week's Destination Devon will tell us all about the Great Maine Lumberjack Show and its owner, Tim Bertino.
That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
At Living Innovations, we build community. You can be a part of it. We put supporting people first, and that builds a caring community within our workforce and for the people we serve. Living Innovations supports people with disabilities and has flexible work opportunities available. You could become a shared living provider and work from home, or help support people to be active in the community. To learn more, visit livinginnovations.com and check out our employment and home provider opportunities. Become a part of Living Innovations and be part of a community with a purpose.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers, with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The Button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, June 7th, 2024, and it's also National Donut Day.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
This is a day to celebrate and savor our favorite fried dough confection. This holiday can be traced to the Salvation Army's involvement in World War I, when volunteers provided meals to the troops on the front lines. They determined that donuts could be cooked up under the most dire circumstances, and even used war helmets to fry up 7 donuts at a time. The volunteers became known as the Donut Lassies. National Donut Day was established in 1938 as a day to honor the Salvation Army members that came to the aid of all the soldiers. Wow, you never would have thought of that.
Yeah, never. You can imagine the conditions they had to deal with going down into the trenches with those soldiers in World War I doing that.
Right.
So
literally? They were
literally. We had some photos too. I don't know if we still have them, but there were some actual photos of the Donut Lassies down in the trenches. Maybe we'll get them for the next hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, just incredible story. But now National Donut Day is, of course, observed around the nation, so you can stop by Dunkin' Donuts and other places, and you get a free donut today, too.
Wow.
Which is not a bad thing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's great news.
So this is a great national holiday.
Yeah. I know. And you get a deal, too.
Yep.
All right. Well, on this day in history, in 1776, Richard Henry Lee of Virginia proposed to the Continental Congress a resolution calling for a Declaration of Independence. In 1864, Republican delegates nominated Abraham Lincoln for his second term as president. His running mate was Andrew Johnson. In 1965, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a Connecticut law banning contraceptives. In 1967, Israeli troops captured Jerusalem during the Six-Day War. In 1975, the first video cassette recorder went on sale to the public.
Do you still have a VCR at your house?
Yes.
Do you? I have one too.
I never remember how to use that cord with the red and the white and the yellow.
Right.
And
yeah.
I don't think I did it right.
You can just get a regular coax cable too, and it just screws in and screws into your TV. But yeah, we got really good at that over the years back then.
No, you did it for so long, and now with
Yeah.
streaming and everything, all that information is lost.
Yeah, my VCR is up in the attic gaining dust,
Yeah.
but it's there if we ever need it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would still use them and buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now. More history. In 1998, 3 white supremacists killed James Byrd Jr. in Jasper, Texas. That was just a horrible crime. They did so by dragging him for 3 miles behind a pickup truck.
Oh, my God.
They were later convicted of murder, and that crime inspired the Texas hate crime law, along with several federal laws to crack down on similar kinds of crimes.
Yeah.
It was just horrible.
Yeah, after something like that, you better have a good response.
In 2000, a judge ordered the breakup of the Microsoft Corporation. The order came after the company broke antitrust laws with browser markets and PC operating systems.
And they're getting the microscope on them again
They are.
as of this last block.
Today's midpoint, some of the news here is it could have been done today, between the Israeli invasion and all that.
Right,
So-
and we have been talking, I didn't bring it up during the Six-Day War, but that's why Saran killed Robert F. Kennedy
Yeah.
a few days before on this day in history, because he said he blamed him for not doing enough for his country. He was a Palestinian man.
Right. In 2008, Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton of New York, she dropped out of the presidential race and threw her support behind Senator Barack Obama, who of course would go on to win the presidency.
And for birthdays today, we have actor Liam Neeson, rapper Iggy Azalea, or wait, you didn't say how old Liam Neeson is.
I forgot.
That's
to
okay. That's
do
okay.
that.
Iggy Azalea is 34, and former President George W. Bush is 77.
So we wish them all a very happy birthday. I saw Iggy Azalea in Bangor last year.
Oh, right, I did too.
It was so shocking.
At the Pitbull concert.
Yeah, I went to Pitbull with my daughter and
Right,
some friends. And
yeah.
I like Pitbull. Iggy Azalea, man, she just says a lot of swear words and things like that.
I think Pitbull does too.
He
but
does.
Yeah.
I feel really old when I go to one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Not my thing.
It is explicit.
So
I appreciate it though.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. The weather for today and this weekend is kind of a bummer if you were hoping for a nice weekend to go out on the lake or do whatever you want to do.
Right. It's going to be rainy today. People getting ready for graduation parties and things. You're just going to have to deal with it. Looks like we'll have some scattered showers through the weekend, but it's not going to be a total washout either, so you'll probably still be able to get those things in.
Yeah, I know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
All righty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. Your local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. Areas of dense fog greeting us this morning are parts of Bangor to Bar Harbor, even across parts of Washington County this morning. Looks like Millinocket dealing with some fog as well, even across the western parts of the state. I haven't noticed any advisories yet this morning, but please be careful as you do travel with the fog. We do have showers developing across the western parts of the state this morning, tracking from the west to the east, and we'll be watching for on and off showers as the day progresses on with this area low pressure here that continues to track off towards the east. So we'll have more rounds of showers tracking throughout the daytime period today. So there's the showers right there. We hold on to those pretty much all day long, and a few more on the way tonight. Then some showers and even some thunderstorms possible as we head towards your Saturday. As for the winds, though, not looking too bad, roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The winds will start to calm down later on tonight, but then they start to pick up again as we head towards the daytime tomorrow. So for today, here we go. We have middle 60s, mostly cloudy showers on the way, and that east wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy showers and fog on the way, lows in the middle 50s with the wind overall looking nice and calm. All right, an hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, mostly cloudy with showers on the way. Temperatures overall in the 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, Maine's logging industry has a long history that stretches all the way back to the early 1600s. And for nearly 3 decades, a woman in Trenton has been drawing crowds to the more competitive side of the industry.
Our Devin Dagnalt is in with his latest Destination Devin to tell us more.
It's an hour and 15 minutes of non-stop fun and action. Competitors ready. We do underhand chopping, crosscut sawing, power sawing, speed climbing, axe sawing, log rolling, and more.
Tina Shear, aka Timber Tina, is the creator and owner of Timber Tina's Great Maine Lumberjack Show, and she's a Paul Bunyan truther.
Oh my gosh, my family at home, they're all like, no, and I'm like, always, yes, he's from Maine.
Originally hailing from Wisconsin, Tina is quite the timber sports aficionado. She got her start with log rolling at the age of just 8 years old and performed with her family for 15 years in the Shear's Lumberjack Show before making it out on her own.
I picked Maine because it reminds me of home. Of course, Acadia National Park and all the tourists that visit our area. And this is where Paul Bunyan's from, and that's where I wanted to go too. Go!
Now in its 29th season, the Great Maine Lumberjack Show is as good as ever, featuring young lumberjacks and Jills looking to fine-tune their timber sports skills during the off-season of their collegiate teams. According to Tina's performers, there's never been a better time than right now to check out the show for yourself.
It's growing in Europe, really big right now, and it's going to be the next big sport, I think.
Well, Tina actually grew the sport a lot, and it's grown a lot over the years. Like, more women have participated.
Starting Father's Day weekend, Timber Tina's Great Maine Lumberjack Show will have shows every night until the end of August. For more information, check out this story on our website, foxbangor.com. In Trenton, Devin Dagnall, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Wow. Have you been?
I have not been. I love watching those competitions. They show up on TV every now and then. I think it's just amazing. And I've been a big fan of Tina's for years.
Yeah.
Just seen so many stories. She was on, I think, Survivor once, too.
Really?
Yeah.
She is clearly an entertainer.
Yeah.
She's vocal. She's excited. I love it.
She's a great performer and a great cheerleader for the state of Maine, too.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I haven't been in years, but I loved it the first time I went.
I could see you doing that.
Maybe I'll have to try.
Yeah, do some log rolling or something like that.
I know that's kind of on par with the chainsaw stuff from a few months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got me thinking. Okay, right after the break, the Celtics won game one in the NBA finals last night.
And when I was writing these about 3 o'clock this morning, they won game 1 in the NBA finals.
Oh, you meant WON.
Yes.
And then won NE.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm making you think this morning. Sorry about
linguistics this morning.
Anyway, Tyler Cruz will have sports
right after the break.
When you say let's go to breakfast, you mean let's go to McDonald's. Obviously.
Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for $4.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Your local professional, eco-friendly office space partner is WVII Business Solutions, your one-stop shop to get the job done. Handling all your office furniture and printing machine needs at an affordable price. Offering full system integration into your workplace and local service on everything we sell. We can even remote monitor your system with just-in-time inventory and service need assessments. Little to no downtime gives you peace of mind. At WVII Business Solutions, your solution is only an email or a phone call away.
Adding comfort and beauty to your home for less is as easy as 1, 2, 3 during Renewal by Andersen's Easy 3Z replacement window event. The time to act is now because Renewal by Andersen is making it easy and affordable with huge discounts on our exclusive custom replacement windows and our doors, along with special financing options so affordable you won't want to miss out on this event. And to top it all off, professional installation by our certified master installers is always included. Like we said, Easy 3Z. Call today.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Local news weeknights at 6 with Beth Jones and Peter Dubois on ABC 7.
.76 wins down and just 4 to go. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The Celtics and the Mavericks squaring off in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. It all comes down to this. And the quest for Banner 18 is down to the last series. Game 1 at TD Garden. First quarter, Jason Tatum with it loses the dribble, and the Mavericks are off and running. Kyrie Irving finds Luka Doncic to PJ Washington. He gets inside and finishes with the slam. Mavs up early, but the Celtics would flip a switch. Welcome back, Kristaps Porzingis. Tough mid-range jumper goes for him. Boston is up 10. Tatum now, he is going to get it inside. Nice move in the paint and slams it home with 2 hands. Celtics running away with it in the first half. And how about the return of Porzingis? Drains a contested 3. He had 18 in the first half. Mavs would get within 8, but the Celtics would fire back. Holiday finds Tatum, can't hit, but Al Horford finishes the job. Celtics go on to win 107-89. The championship hunt also continuing for our high school athletes. Let's check out a couple of playoff baseball games on the docket from this afternoon, beginning at the classic Mansfield Stadium. A great day for baseball. 5-seed Oxford Hills visiting number 4 Bangor. Top of the first, Oxford Hills' Carter Holbrook with a pop fly in foul territory. Ethan Sproul, look at the play from second base, tracking it down, makes a sweet basket catch for the out. Looks easy, that is not easy. Bottom first, Bangor's Kyle Johnson, a well-hit ball into left. That is going to score Jack Shook. The RBI double makes it 1-0. Bottom of the second, Oxford's Brady Truman gave up a 1-out single, but strikes out the next 2 batters to retire the side. To the bottom of the third now, Sproul at the plate for Bangor. A grounder through the hole and into left. Scotty Sakabason scores, and then Johnson slides in right behind him, makes it 3-0. Bangor goes on to win it. Your final is 6-2. Now let's head to Bucksport for a Class C North quarterfinal between 5-seed Mattanockcook and the 4-seed Bucks. Hot start for Bradley Dill on the mound for the Lynx. He strikes out 2 of the 3 batters in the first to retire the side. Bottom of the second, Bucksport's Connor Fitch at the plate with a base hit into left field. That's going to score Gavin Holyoke easily from third base, and Jason Terrell follows right behind him. 2-0 Bucks. Later, 3-0 Bucks. Nick Clare skies one into center field. Owen Harper makes the play, but Fitch tags and scores from third base. That makes it 4-0. 2 batters later, Gunther Sear at the plate with a runner on third, lays down a beautiful bunt down the line. They can't make the play. Aidan McGuire scores on the squeeze. 5-0 Bucks. They go on to win 9-0. All right, let's stay in town for a C North softball quarterfinal. 8-seed Central and top-seeded Bucksport going at it. Bottom 3, Bucks up 7. Jetta Shook hits one into left center. Nice piece of hitting there. That's going to get all the way to the wall. Marina Keene and Sam Sear score. It is 9-0. Later, Olivia Shute hits a hard one, but a nice stop by the pitcher, Ailey Speck. She throws to first for the out to end the inning. Top of the fourth now. Runner on third for Central, but Natalie Simpson sits the next two batters down. 11 Ks and a no-hitter for Simpson. Finally, Keene at bat, and she is going to nail a base hit. Lakin Varnum crosses home. That makes it 10-0 Bucksport. That is the final. All right, and for some other scores from around the area in baseball, Ellsworth beats Herman 6-2. Stearns over Bangor Christian 13-2. Skowhegan beats Camden Hills 7-6. That's a good one. And Foxcroft over Orono 6-2. They'll play Bucksport. In softball, Nokomis beats Oceanside 12-2. Penobscot Valley beats Machias also 12-2. Mattanochuk over Sumner 11-1. And Dexter over Narraguagus 8-2. All right, let's go to the football field now. Patriots wrapping up optional OTAs this week before taking the weekend off. They open up their minicamp on Monday. One of the stories to watch for come minicamp has really been the story of the offseason. How is rookie quarterback Drake May assimilating to the NFL ranks? He was reportedly taking second-team reps behind Jacoby Brissett at OTAs, and both May and new offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt acknowledging and embracing that process.
Yeah, further ahead, I think just all the terminology, all the motions, all the different formations. I feel like I'm kind of getting a pretty good gist of it. Still work in progress, getting new installs in every day. But I feel like I'm, a smart kid, so trying to pick that up pretty fast.
He's been impressive. He's come out, he's, taken everything from the classroom, everything from our individual periods, and he's applying it into the team drills. He's been impressive so far.
All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Buying a home is a big family experience. It is our dream home. Credit union is more like a partner, whether it's your home or whether it's in business. You get mommy? They're local, they're small, they want to take care of their customers just as much as they can. Pretty good feeling to have your local credit union backing you up.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Acadia Gem EV Rentals, the clean, all-electric, and fun way to see Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. Gem vehicles are 100% electric, low-speed vehicles that are street legal on any paved road with a posted speed limit of 35 miles an hour or less. You will enjoy all the beauty of the island without leaving a carbon footprint. Gem rentals are available in 2, 4, and 6 passenger vehicles. Visit acadiagem.com or call 207-288-8983.
With the shared branching network, you can easily and conveniently do banking transactions at over 170 credit union branches in Maine and over 5,000 branches nationwide. There's one near you at mainecreditunions.org.
All right, looks like we talked too much again, so we got to throw it over to Devin Biggs.
Yeah,
right?
time for your weather forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Down East Trailer Service in Ellsworth, offering parts, sales, and full service repair on all trailers. The local Load Right authorized dealer. Stop by or call us today at 207-813-0007. Alrighty, here we go. Wave heights are a little bit active out there, depending on where you're at this morning. We have 3-foot wave heights just offshore, maybe a little bit lower further off towards the north and east from the buoys, and further down to the south, wave heights are at around 7 feet this morning. On land, here we go. Bangor to Bar Harbor, reduced visibilities. Even Millinocket noticing that this morning. Washington County is reduced, so if you're driving this morning, definitely take it slow. Allow extra time as needed with the areas of dense fog that has been developing. We also have clouds, and we also have showers tracking in from the west and going toward the east. So we're going to keep that going throughout the daytime period today with more showers possible overnight tonight and possibly tomorrow as well. With this energy here tracking from the southwest and going to the north and east, we'll be watching that as it does track ever so slowly to the north and east. So futurecast moving forward, we have the showers for today, and even later on tonight, notice the clouds and the showers will be holding on. Even for your Saturday, here we go, scattered showers, and even some thunderstorms will be expected, not only for Saturday morning, but possibly a little bit more as we head towards the afternoon period, so be watchful for that. Then once we head towards Saturday night, there's some rain showers sticking around, but it looks like we start to catch a little bit of a break as we head towards early Sunday morning. As for the rainfall, I'm going to run this through the next few days, so we will have a good amount of rainfall on the way between now and Tuesday, maybe another inch to 2 inches of rain possible in some areas areas before we're all finished up between now and Tuesday, so it will be spread out as we do move forward in time. Average high temperature is 72 degrees. We'll do middle 60s for us today, lower 70s Saturday, Sunday, also into Monday. We're back in the mid 70s for you Tuesday, then upper 70s again Wednesday, and also into your Thursday. Let's talk about the dew points. Those have been up at least recently. We can feel it out there with dew points in the lower 60s today and tomorrow. But once we get towards Sunday and beyond, dew points will be a little bit more comfortable. So for today, middle 60s, mostly cloudy, showers out there, and that east wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly cloudy, some showers and fog on the way. Lows in the middle 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. Highs in the lower 70s, and that southwest wind getting up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out that extended forecast brought to you by Downey's Trailer Service in Ellsworth. More showers and thunderstorms on Sunday with highs in the low 70s. Low 70s again for your Monday with a chance for showers, and more showers and thunderstorms Tuesday. We remain wet with highs in the mid 70s.
Let Hellman's Bakery put a smile on your face with their tasty offerings of breads, baked beans, lasagna, tuche and turkey pies, fruit and cream pies, wedding and specialty cakes, pastries, and more. Hellman's, your hometown bakery, Fairfield.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
When R&K Variety in Hamden wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store, offering fresh cooked meals that don't break the bank, gasoline for your mean machines, or beer and wine so your night is fine. Stop by today.
When it comes to the whole home heat pump rebates from Efficiency Maine, there's money on the table for everyone, and the experts at Valley Home Services are here to help you get your share. Even if you received a rebate in the past, you can still take advantage of this program with a new Fujitsu heat pump for your whole house. And no matter your income, there's a rebate for you. Let the folks at Valley Home Services lay out a Fujitsu heat pump plan for you so you can start saving on heating and cooling for your home. Don't leave money on the table. Call Valley Home Services today and get your rebate instantly.
The Stanley Cup Final. Oil Country looks to celebrate for the first time since 1990. The Panthers have waited a lifetime to capture their first Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup Final, Game 1, Saturday on ABC.
Oversharing can be weird.
How you doing, buddy? I'm more excited than a mosquito flying into a nudist colony.
Overshare with Family Feud.
Woo! Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
Looks like we're about out of time. We'll continue broadcasting on Fox 22, and if you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com.
We hope you have a wonderful day.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
My name is Pam Crowley. In 1 year, I had to take care of burial or cremation arrangements for 4 family members, including my husband and my sister. I could not have gotten through everything without my funeral director, Cindy, at Bragdon Kelly Funeral Homes. Cindy greeted us as a friend. During her arrangements, she was so personable. Cindy is so patient and understanding. She gave us assurance, comfort, and she has such a great smile. The best thing that Cindy did is take such good care of my husband. He had some issues before his death. I felt very worried that he would not look right. When I saw him, he looked like my husband. Cindy took excellent care of him. Seeing him definitely helped me feel right. Cindy did more than I ever expected of a funeral director.
Bragdon Kelly Funeral Homes. Let our family serve yours.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. President Biden's
Smartphone Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, a Maine State Trooper is injured after a driver fell asleep at the wheel and hit him from behind.
Plus, a man was arrested after he allegedly blocked traffic and repeatedly hit a man in the head with a hammer.
And Castine is finally starting to come back after the winter storms that battered the area. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up. But first, a look at that important weekend forecast. Looks like some rain clouds are moving into the state today. Western and northern Maine are going to get the most rain, but we all could see some scattered showers as the day rolls along.
Yep, not a complete wash today, though.
No, just from time to time you might get some showers, and it's going to kind of trend that way for the next few days, too.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.